As a parent, have you ever gone to bed thinking, I shouldn't have shouted at my child? I should have been more patient with her. Why did I react like that? Am I failing my child? If you have ever felt guilty as a parent, I want to tell you something surprising. The parent who feels the most guilt are often the parents who care the most. But here is the problem. You see, guilt doesn't make us better parents. It makes us anxious, reactive, and disconnected from ourselves and our children. So, what I want to share with you today is why good parents feel so much guilt, where this guilt is actually coming from, and how we can transform guilt into awareness, growth, and compassion. Hi, I'm Dr. Vasantha Reddi, founder of Svadharma Circles. My work brings together neuroscience, developmental psychology, and wisdom of Sanatan Dharma to help parents understand not only their children's behavior and inner world, but also their own. Over the years, I have come to believe that parenting is not just about raising children, it is also an invitation to understand ourselves more deeply, to become aware of our thoughts, emotions, beliefs, and patterns so that we can relate to our children with greater clarity, compassion, and wisdom. One of the greatest ironies of parenting is this: the parent who worries about being a bad parent are usually not bad parents at all. Parents who truly care rarely sit awake at night questioning themselves. But caring parents do. You love your child deeply. And because you love your child deeply, every mistake feels enormous. You replay conversations. Do you remember the moments you lost your patience with your child? You wonder whether you have damaged your child. Or you compare yourself with other parents. And slowly, guilt becomes a constant companion. But to understand guilt, we need to ask a deeper question: where does parental guilt actually come from? This may sound surprising. Your guilt does not come from your love. Your love comes from something much deeper. It comes from your essential nature as a parent, the part of you that naturally wants to protect, nurture, and care. But guilt often comes from somewhere else. It comes from the expectations you inherited. You may have grown up believing that a good mother sacrifices everything for her children. We see this in movies all the time. And then feel guilty whenever we take time off for self care, like a facial or something. The question is not whether these expectations are right or wrong. The question is, are these expectations helping us understand our child? Then there are fears you carry. Your child is shy and you worry, what if they can't succeed in life? If your child struggle, you must have done something wrong. Third, beliefs of society. Successful children reflect successful parenting. As a result, parents begin believing that every challenge their child faces is evidence of their own failure. And then comes the standards you impose on yourself. If I truly love my child, I would never feel angry, frustrated, or overwhelmed. These standards are impossible because they expect us to be superhuman rather than human. We are parents who get overwhelmed, who make mistakes, who apologize, who repair, who learn, and who keep growing. And perhaps this is what children actually need: not perfect parents, but aware parents. So, love arises from your essence, guilt often arises from your conditioning. So, what happens inside your brain when we feel guilty? When we believe we have made a mistake, our brain activates areas involved in threat detection and error monitoring. Our nervous system begins asking, something went wrong. Am I safe? Am I a good parent? This activates stress response. And here is the irony: the more guilt we feel, the more dysregulated we become. And the more dysregulated we become, the harder it is to parent the way we want. This creates a cycle: stress, reaction, guilt, more stress, more reaction. Many parents think, if I feel guilty enough, I'll become a better parent. But neuroscience suggests something different. Shame and chronic guilt do not create growth. It is awareness that creates growth. And many parents are not just parenting their children, they're also carrying their own childhood experiences, unresolved emotional wounds, societal expectations, family pressures, financial stress, relationship stress, and fear about their child's future. Sometimes, when we react strongly to our child, we are not only reacting to the present moment, we are reacting from years of accumulated experiences and conditioning. Oh my God, that condition really takes over. For example, a child refusing to study may trigger a parent's fear of failure. A child's tantrum may trigger a parent's memories of being judged. A child's emotional expression may activate a parent's own unresolved emotions. This does not mean that we don't love our children. It means we are human beings carrying our own histories. In the wisdom traditions of Sanatan Dharma, human suffering always arises when we mistake our conditioned mind for our true nature. The mind accumulates fears, expectations, identity, comparisons, judgments, and then we begin believing, I must be a perfect parent. But perfection is not dharma. Awareness is dharma. Growth is dharma. Self understanding is dharma. The purpose of parenting is not to perform perfection. The purpose is to cultivate awareness within ourselves and within our children. Let's talk about a situation many parents experience. You lose your patience and you shout at your child. Immediately afterwards, guilt appears. And then your mind says, I am a terrible parent. But what if we replace that question with a different one? Instead of asking, what's wrong with me? Ask, what happened inside me? Was I exhausted? Was I anxious? Was I overwhelmed? Was I carrying stress from somewhere else? Was my nervous system dysregulated? This shift is profound because guilt judges, awareness investigates. An investigation creates understanding. So, in the Svadharma framework, transformation does not begin with correcting behavior, it begins with awareness. The sequence is regulation, observation, nurturing, guidance, and alignment with Swadharma, that is our own selves. Before we ask, how do I fix my child? We ask, what is happening within me? Because children do not simply learn from our instructions, they learn from our nervous system and our emotional state, our awareness and presence. This doesn't mean parents must be perfect, it means parents must be willing to become aware. So, what do we do when guilt arises? First, don't suppress it, but don't worship it either. Instead, treat guilt as information. Ask yourself, what value of mine was violated? What fear was activated? What expectation was I carrying? What support do I need? And what can I learn from this moment? And then repair. If you shouted, apologize. If you misunderstood your child, reconnect. If you made a mistake, acknowledge it. Children do not need perfect parents, they need parents who can repair relationships. In fact, relationship repair may be one of the greatest lessons we can ever teach our children. So, the goal of parenting is not perfection, the goal is awareness because awareness transforms guilt into understanding That understanding transforms, creates growth, and growth allows both parent and child to move towards their own Swadharma, that is, their inner nature. If this resonated with you, please follow for more on Swadharma circles.